There are skeptics and there are honest skeptics. Here's the difference. The skeptic sees a thing and goes, "Oh, that's a bunch of crap, that's a bunch of BS, that's not real." And usually they get online and go, "Can't believe people believe that garbage." An honest skeptic goes, "Huh, something actually is happening. I wonder what that is. I wonder if their description of it is accurate. I wonder if it's useful." I try to be an honest skeptic. I have to. Because when I came to pressure point fighting, I came to it because I'd seen video of Oyata sensei doing technique. I shook with fear when I watched the video. I went, "Oh my goodness, this is real karate. I don't know it." But when I came to Sensei Dillman, he was talking a lot about nerves, but not so much. And right in the beginning, he talked also about the acupuncture points, but almost as an aside, he said, well, these are the same points used in acupuncture. But he didn't talk a lot about acupuncture theory back then. He didn't talk about 5 elements and yin and yang. He just said, nerves, nerves. By the way, these are the same points. And so that, for me, that made it accessible, because you start, back in the 80s, if you were talking to me about acupuncture, I'd sort of like, well, I'm not sure. It seems a little bit like hocus pocus to me. But, you know, clearly the pressure points worked. And it was only later on that I began to see that the principles of acupuncture applied, and that they actually described what was going on. In fact, that's probably what you need to know and to understand as you're thinking about pressure point technique, and you hear us talk about it using the language of acupuncture. You see, the difference between acupuncture and Oriental medicine in general and how it thinks, and Western medicine and how it thinks, is that Western medicine takes a sort of, I'll use the term mechanistic approach. What is actually happening here? What's the chemistry? What's going on? What's happening in the ion channels? You know, what's the genetic thing going on here? What's happening? Da da da. And so they're actually looking for it. They look at it as a mechanical thing. The heart, for example, from a Western point of view, is a pump. It's got valves and chambers, and it's a pump. It's a machine. Now, the Eastern point of view is entirely different. The Eastern point of view, the Eastern point of view does not discount the Western model at all, but it just looks at things differently. It asks a different kind of question. Instead of asking, how does this work? It asks, how is this related to something else? So the language of acupuncture is not a language of mechanics. It's not a language of chemistry. It's not a language of physics or neurology. It's a language of relationship. This is related to that. We can talk about the relationship in this way, and this helps us draw a conclusion about an appropriate action or response. So when we say, this is metal, this is wood, this is earth, we're not describing an actual quality. It's not really metal, it's not really wood, it's not really earth. These are words we use to convey something about it, a spirit it has, if you will. I'm using that word in a very loose way, but a spirit that it has. It has the spirit of wood, whatever that means. It's something about it is metaphorically like wood for us, so wood is the word we use. But in the process, we give ourselves a relational language. In other words, if I say metal cuts wood, and then I hit somebody on a metal meridian point, say lung 5, and their body spins around and exposes gallbladder 20, which is a wood point, I get to see metal cutting wood. It actually fits. It becomes like an algorithm for predicting and anticipating what that next technique is going to be. So when you're talking about acupuncture and you're talking about Chinese medicine, I want you to be okay with the idea that we can have 2 different languages to discuss these 2 things. We can talk about Western medicine, anatomy, physiology, and we can also talk about 5-element theory and yin and yang and that sort of thing. They're not really contradictory worldviews. They're complementary worldviews. They're two different ways of looking at the same thing and asking different kinds of questions to produce an array of possible solutions to a problem. If you doubt what I mean, then answer this trick question. Is this yin or yang? Now, right away, you're popping an answer out. Some are saying it's yang because of X. Some are saying it's yin because of Y. But it's a trick question, because the actual answer is this yang or yin compared to what? It's all about relationship. But fighting is a relationship as well, a relationship between me and my opponent. I'm Chris Thomas, and these are some reflections from the MasterClass. Thanks for watching. Now go train.